I'm Anil Kumar, and we are just warming up to understand how to simplify rational functions, what are equivalent rational functions, and in this video you'll learn some tips which you should keep in mind when you are working with rational functions. So we have a very simple example here. Let us explore with this example how to simplify a rational function. So example for us is f of x equals to 2 times x squared minus 4 divided by x minus 2. What we need to do here is to simplify this rational function. So whenever you get a rational function to simplify, you should begin with finding restrictions. That is the first step. Restrictions, or other way of saying it is non-permitted values, right? So non-permitted values, the values which are not permitted, right? So that is the first step. The second step is you factor. So once you factor numerator and denominator, then you simplify. And last and most important is always state restrictions. So follow these steps and don't forget to state restrictions which you identified right in the very beginning in your final answer, correct? Now I'm going to solve this very simple question, simplify it rather, and you have to tell me if I have made a mistake. So the first step here is I write down the restrictions. So I rewrite the question, which is x squared minus 4 over x minus 2, and we get restrictions by equating denominator to 0, right? Since denominator cannot be 0, so let me show it here. We say x minus 2 equals to 0. That means x equals to 2. So it really means that if I put x equals to 2, 2 minus 2 is 0, denominator will be 0. So that value is not permitted. X cannot be 2. So we write x is never equal to 2 for this rational function. And in other words, we call it restriction, right? So the restriction on the function is that this function can have x as all real values. So we can say domain here is that x belongs to real numbers, but x is not equal to 2. So that becomes the domain of the function, right? Do you understand? So that is how it is. Once we identify, we move forward. Well, normally it is done after factoring, but I jumped into it kind of. Okay, let's do further. So it is difference of squares, x squared minus 2 squared. I could write this as x plus 2 times x minus 2 divided by x minus 2, correct? Now I can see that x minus 2 is a common factor. So x minus 2 gets cancelled off, and I will write this as 2 times x plus 2, and I may even expand it and I write this as 2x plus 4, and I write this as my answer. And I say, well, my answer is that f of x is equals to, let me write down now my answer, and my answer is the simplified form of f of x is 2x plus 4. Now some of you must have noticed that I did make a mistake. Now where is the mistake and what is the mistake? The mistake clearly is that when I cancelled, I did not write x is not equal to 2, right? Well, at times it is not necessary to write always, but you do have to mention it in your solution, which is the final simplified form, and you have to say f of x is simplified to 2x plus 4 where x is not equal to 2. Only then it is the correct answer, otherwise it is not the correct answer. I hope you understand and appreciate this part. And let us sketch this function to understand it even better. And if I sketch 2x plus 4, it means my y-intercept is 4 and the slope is 2. So kind of I can draw a line like this, right? So I'm just sketching this line, which is 2x plus 4. If I don't write a restriction, I'll write a line. I'll show a line on the graph, which happens to be a wrong answer because the rational function has a restriction. It cannot be 2, correct? So at 2, what y value do you expect? At 2 it should be 8, right? So let us say this value. So we'll make a hole here, do you understand? So at this hole we'll just write 2 here, and let me just take this value as 8. So actually the function is this, the line with a hole in between. So there is a big hole here, right, at x equals to 2. So we cannot have x equals to 2, and that is what I want to emphasize here. So whenever you're simplifying rational functions, writing equivalent rational functions, or there is a communication question showing you steps and asking for are these two same, you have to look for restriction. Always state restrictions when you simplify. That's the key thing which we learned from this video. And I'm sure this is going to help you a lot. I'm Anil Kumar. You can subscribe and learn a lot more. Thank you and all the best.